Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to the Institute Valedictory Function. I hope you all are safe and doing well. The Institute Valedictory Function is an important rite of passage for our students who may be leaving the campus but will always be a part of the IITB family. I would like to welcome all the dignitaries, Director Professor Chaudhary, Chief Guest and Keynote Speaker Mr. Toos Daruwala, Young Alumni Speaker Mr. Rahul Singh, Dean ACR Professor Joshi, Dean SA Professor Kundu, and CEO of IITB Alumni Association Mr. Devesh Khatu. I would now invite Dean SA Professor Kundu to introduce us to the IVF program.
Thank you. Director Professor Subhasis Chaudhary, Chief Guests Mr. Toos Daruwala and Mr. Rahul Singh, Professor Subhas Joshi, the Dean ACR, Mr. Devesh Khatu, all the other dignitaries and graduated batch of 2020. I welcome you all for this special e-valedictory function. As you know, this used to be a physical function. However, in this special unfortunate situation, we are maintaining physical distance, online or e-mode, but not mental distance, I hope. We missed you a lot of your last phase in the campus. I hope you also missed the same, but had no choice. You had worked hard to get into the IIT through JEE. You had been working even harder to complete your academic commitments during last 4 and 5 years. Finally, you are set to face the world. I hope the campus had given a lot to shape your career through classroom teaching, extracurricular activities in Gymkhana to develop your personalities. Now it is your turn. We expect that you will do best, you achieve excellence in your next commitment, and I hope that you will not forget your alma mater. Your contribution to IIT Bombay will help to take this institution further high. In today's event, the director will express his emotion and will encourage you for your next venture. We will also hear from our chief guests of this function, and Professor Joshi after that will take over the function. We'd also like to hear from some of you about your experience in the campus, and I hope that we are not here to say goodbye. I think that you will be promoting to the next step of this one. Thanks to all of you. Stay safe and best wishes from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kundu. We are here today to celebrate our graduating students' journey in the Institute as they stand on the threshold of starting a new chapter in their life. They will explore many new things in the future and learn from it using their experiences at the Institute. I would now like to invite Director Professor Chaudhary to address the audience.
Thank you, Mr. Toos Daruwala, Mr. Rahul Singh, my colleagues here, and all my students who are now going to graduate. As a matter of fact, most of you have finished all your exams, unlike in previous years, and we welcome you in this particular evening to this August program. I think there is a problem with the video something is not coming on the screen. I hope it's being taken care of. So first of all, let me welcome to this very special kind of a program, which is an Institute Valedictory Function, which normally we hold it sometime in late March, but we could not do it. But we decided that it's better be late, it's better be in a virtual environment rather than not having it at all. So this is one particular instance where we all get together, the entire graduating batch, and it is a kind of a celebration time for most of the people, doing it together, enjoying your stay that you had there. You must be reminiscing on how and what kind of life you had in your prime time when you spent 2, 3, 4, or 5 years, whatever the time you spent in IIT during your sojourn, during which you also earned a prestigious degree from IIT Bombay. Of course, this year has been extremely difficult for most of our students, our faculty members, and everybody, as a matter of fact, the entire nation, and also the rest of the world because of the pandemic. But the true IIT spirit will come, and when the life becomes tough, is the tough that gets going. So in that, I know that IIT Bombay, our graduates have done very well. All through, most of our alumni, no matter which year you look at it, you go back to the earlier days, to even the recent time, they have been shining as a graduates. And this particular batch is a very special one because you are the first batch which experienced extreme hardship. You were all, in some sense, banished from the campus because of the current scenario. But nonetheless, we could finish all your semesters, the entire grading, everything we could do. And I'm happy that you are now a graduate of IIT Bombay. And because the hardship that you understood, that what it takes to go beyond this hardship, I'm sure that in 5 to 10 years from today, I think I, as the director of the institute, will be happiest person when we find that your hardship pays off and you become one of the best set of alumni that IIT Bombay can think of. Dear students, I know there is a beautiful life ahead from all of you, but you should also inculcate a lot of things in your life because right now, most of you are very young in your life and you need to go through a journey where you will be experiencing a lot of kind of interesting scenario where you have to adapt. IIT Bombay actually gave you certain kind of training on how to take care of them. But I must also tell you one particular aspect when we actually realize that how much this institute has helped you in making your journey a good one. And this is something that you will be cherishing even after 30, 40, 50 years of leaving this campus. I must tell you that the institute is very much dependent on our alumni because from now you are also going to be one of our distinguished set of alumni who would be spreading all over the world and doing wonderful things. Remember that whenever you pass through this hallowed portal of this particular institute, you might have seen buildings which has named like Kanwal Rekhi building, Victor Menges, your convocation center, Girish Gaitunde electrical engineering department building. So there are a lot of such named entities. So LS J. Mehta School. You have also seen Desai Sethi. So you should, but then also another thing would be on the research side, Vadhwani Center for Research in Biosciences. Now this should also strike you that what are these names doing in this campus? Who are they? They were at some point a person like you in the campus. They graduated here and they have never forgotten their alma mater. And because of that, when they go up in their life, they have given back quite a lot to the campus, which made your journey to IIT Bombay a very, very pleasant one. And I know that most of you at this point would wonder also that the life that you spend in your hostels now, we are not able to give you a single room. Many of you face a lot of hardship, but as a student, you face them all very nicely. You never made complaint. But this is the time you also have to promise that tomorrow's generation, when the next batch of students, they come here, they should also have a good opportunity, good ambience. And that could happen when we get back a lot of support from you in terms of financial and other support. So today I am happy to note that as a special gesture, I think all of you have pledged to give it a token kind of a donation to IIT Bombay of rupees 200, just to start the whole process, to learn what it feels like to give it to alma mater. And I'll be happy to tell you that whatever the money that we collect through your donation today, it may not be much, but that's priceless to us. What we will do to make it even more priceless, you realize that we have also saved some money because we are not feeding you tonight. At the end of it, normally we have a nice lavish dinner party. So whatever the money saved from that particular event, we'll plow it into the same pool of 2020 batch, and hopefully that will help doing certain things for the next batch of students for their benefit. You know that our alumnus, from no matter where they are, those people in the United States, those who are in India, even specific batches like 1994, they have contributed generously for the benefit of some of our people who are at different places and little bit underprivileged to get the laptop and other support. And we will be distributing them so that the next semester when we actually run our program in virtual mode, so that none of them are left behind. Remember, it's our responsibility we must collectively go up. We must help each other so that all people in the country, they go up. And that's why we need your support. We need everybody to be onboarded into the process of this journey, which makes you a proud IIT Bombay person. We also must tell you that we have set up to facilitate the process of relationship with our alumni, the IIT Bombay DRF, Development and Relations Foundation, which is being helped, and I think this is being supported by the Dean ACR office. Professor Joshi would be talking about it. But for that, now we will have a complete separate mechanism. Very soon, we'll be hiring a CEO for that. And the job of this particular office would be to actually keep constant touch with you. So no matter where you are tomorrow, please keep in touch with you. And that would make us happy. We just want to make sure that your alma mater is always with you. Before I end, I must also tell you that very soon we are also organizing our convocation, our annual convocation also. It is going to be on a virtual mode, and this is going to be on 23rd of August. And we expect very, very important person as a chief guest for that particular. So let me keep it as a suspense because we are still working out on this particular person. But at the same time, I must tell you that you will get a very different kind of experience while getting through this online, your online convocation. So please stay tuned for that, because we'll try to provide certain kind of virtual presence if our volunteers are successful in developing the technology within the next 5 or 6 weeks. So stay tuned for that, and I will definitely meet you during the convocation. And that time, I'll formally wish you all the best in your life. But no matter what you do now, always stay safe. I think that's the first thing that you need to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. As our students become a part of our alumni family, I would like to introduce them to their fellow alumni all the way back to 50 years ago. Mr. Toos Daruwala, currently the co-CEO at MIO Partners INC. Prior to this, he was a senior partner in McKinsey & Company in their New York office, where he held many responsible positions since joining the company in 1983. He is a board member of the Royal Bank of Canada since 2015. He is a recipient of our Distinguished Alumnus Award in the year 2014. He completed his MBA from University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and BTech in Electrical Engineering from IIT Bombay. We would like to inform you that he will be answering questions after his speech. So you can type your questions in the Q&A icon on the right side of the screen. Now, without any further delay, I now request Mr. Toos Daruwala to address the audience.
Thank you, Anil, for that introduction. And it's a real honor for me to share this virtual stage with you, with our director, Professor Subhasis Chowdhury, with the Dean ACR, Professor Suhas Joshi, with the Dean SA, Professor Kundu, with Mr. Devarsh Khatau, and of course with our fellow chief guest, Mr. Rahul Singh. And the main reason we are all here today, it's an incredible honor for me to be invited to speak to all of you, the graduating students. When I mentioned this to a friend, he said, remember, Toos, giving this talk is like being asked to give a toast at a wedding. You are not the main act. The bride and the groom are the main act. And today, you, the students, are the main act. What a wonderful moment for you. My hearty, hearty congratulations on your accomplishment. And you should feel justifiably proud. It was, 43 years ago, it doesn't seem that long, that I was sitting in your shoes. And it was a bittersweet emotion for me, as I expect it is for many of you. Bitter because you're leaving some wonderful, fun-filled years at IIT, leaving cherished friendships, and leaving this great intellectual community at IIT. But sweet because of your tremendous accomplishment and because you're now wearing this proud badge as an alum of this amazing institute. But frankly, also a little scary as you set sail on this great voyage of life. So with that, here are some lessons that I've distilled, 5 lessons that I've distilled that may be worthy of some reflection, and lessons that I've learned the hard way, frankly, over the years through trial and error and experimentation. They sound very simple, but like all truths in life, the simple things are important. At various points in your life's journey, you will be faced with a fork in the road. Make sure you take the path that is the right path for you. You will be faced with questions such as, should I take this job or that job? Should I stay in Mumbai or should I move to Delhi? Should I make this career switch? Should I spend the rest of my days with this life partner? When you are faced with these kind of critical forks in the road, pick the path that feels the right path for you. Some will say, what's your long-term plan? Where do you want to be at age 50? What's your passion? If you're like me, I didn't have a long-term plan. I had no idea when I was at your stage in life what I wanted to be at age 50. And I had no idea what my passion was. Instead, I suggest you focus on creating good options for yourself. And then when you are faced with some important choices, pick the path that feels right for you. And importantly, don't get too focused on what will others think and what will others say. I don't mean to say to ignore others' views, quite the contrary. Listen to them very, very carefully. But ultimately, go with the path that feels right for you. And that path will be different from the path that feels right to me or to somebody else. And that's okay. When I was at your stage, I was faced with an important fork in the road, whether to pursue my master's or PhD in engineering after my IIT EE degree, or whether to do an MBA. At that time, this was 1977, a long, long time ago, doing an MBA after an engineering degree was a very unorthodox choice, not a common thing at all. I think my entire graduating class from IIT, maybe there were 6, 8 people of us who came to the US for an MBA or went to IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Calcutta, etc. for an MBA. But I had this sort of gnawing sense that this was what I wanted to do. And I vividly remember one morning opening up the Times of India and realizing that so much in it, business, politics, economics, I just didn't have a way to comprehend. And I felt that an MBA would be a broadening degree, whereas doing an MS or a PhD would be a super specializing choice. Now, for most of you here, doing further studies in engineering or taking up a job in engineering will be absolutely the right choice. But my point is simple. Whenever you're faced with an important decision, a fork in the road, pick the path that feels right for you. A second lesson. Whatever you do, do it with diligence, focus, and do it to your utmost best. I'm a big believer in the philosophy espoused in the Gita. that you can control your actions, you can control your inputs, but you do not control the outcomes. If you have done your best, be at peace with the outcome, whatever it turns out to be. There is real power and satisfaction in focus and hard work. You experiment in a domain. Over time, you find an area within that domain that sparks your interest and curiosity. You work hard, you experiment some more, and then lo and behold, 3 years have passed, 10 years have passed, 30 years have passed, and you will achieve mastery, no doubt about it. When I joined McKinsey many, many years ago, I thought I would spend 3 years in consulting. I had no idea that 3 years would turn to 10 years and 10 years would turn to 30 years. But over time, I learned that I loved the broad array of problems. I loved the people I was working with. I was working very hard, but I was learning a lot along the way. And over time, I couldn't see myself anywhere else. In fact, years later, when I was offered a very, very senior job to join the executive team of one of my clients, a top 10 bank in the US, I turned it down because I was very, very happy where I was as a senior partner at McKinsey. A mindset that I always found helpful related to hard work is you work hard to become the best version of yourself. You don't work hard to outcompete others or because you're wedded to a particular outcome. I've always cherished being around people who are smarter than me and from whom I can learn. So I suggest you think of competition as competing to be the best that you can be, not competing against others. A third lesson, maintain balance and perspective in life. Life does not go in a straight line. John Lennon said, "Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans." There will be setbacks, yes, there will be mistakes. Learn from them, bounce back. Don't lose your balance and your equanimity. Move forward with a spirit of positive engagement with the world. For example, after my MBA at the University of Michigan, directly after IIT, I was actually very keen to find a job in the tech sector, given my EE background. But the big tech companies in the US of the day, this was IBM, Hewlett Packard, Texas Instruments. In those days, there was no Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google. All the big tech companies of the day, they all wanted US permanent residence. And I was, of course, on a student visa. A bank was the only one willing to take a chance on me and to give me a job when I was graduating from Michigan. I was very disappointed because I wanted to get into a tech firm, and it was a real setback. But I bounced back. Eventually, I got into consulting at McKinsey. I led McKinsey's financial services practice, and I realized that financial services was where my real interest lay over time. My point is, you're bound to face some setbacks. You're bound to make some mistakes. Learn from them, bounce back, move forward. And find ways to maintain your balance. We all need to recharge our batteries. Cherish your friends, cherish your family, cherish your hobbies. They make you remember what is really important, and they keep your feet firmly on the ground. I feel greatly blessed to have parents who supported me at every step of the way, and a wife and 3 daughters who are totally supportive of everything I've ever done. I have a dozen close friends, most of them from IIT, a couple of them who might even be here today in the audience. And at IIT, we listened to music together, we played bridge together, and we drank chai together, and we still do that to this day. My children grew up with the children of our IIT friends and very much consider them to be extended family. So cherish those friendships. A fourth thought for you, overcome your internal demons. We always have certain mindsets and barriers that hold us back. Each one of us does. A little voice in your ear that whispers and eats away at your self-confidence. I'm not smart enough. How many of you feel that? I felt that every single day that I was at IIT. Or, I'm not a good public speaker. Or I don't belong here on the stage. You have to recognize your own demons, the mindsets that hold you back. And you have to then experiment and train yourself how to overcome them. For example, I've always been an introvert who prefers to listen rather than talk. And I used to be terrified of public speaking. Yet here I am doing this, and I will even say I enjoy it. Over time, with a lot of practice and trial and error, I learned to jump in when I have something to contribute, not to hold back. And I learned that when I'm speaking in public, if I imagine that I'm speaking to a group of my close friends, then it's a lot easier for me to feel comfortable. But I had to rewire my brain and I had to practice, and I had to overcome those demons. So think about what demons might hold you back, and then work to overcome them. And finally, my fifth lesson, help others be the best that they can be. Do this because it's the best way to utilize your talents. Do this because it's the most impact you can have with your life. Do it because it will enrich you and make you happy. Don't do it with the expectation that someone you help out today will help you back tomorrow. Do it with no expectations at all. I didn't realize this in my early years. I was too busy working hard, striving to succeed, to get ahead. But over time, as the years behind you grow and as the years in front of you diminish, it slowly dawns on you that the measure of a person, the measure of your life, is not what you've accomplished, but how you've touched and helped others. The US President Roosevelt put it this way: no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Think about that. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Very important. And my personal hero, Einstein, also I'm sure a hero to many of you here, said, try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value. Try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value. I suggest you live your life that way. Great words to take to heart. Treat people with respect. Most importantly, your juniors, or people who may have a lower station in life than you. There are some in this world who, we say, kiss up and kick down. They kiss up and kick down. Over time, it catches up with you. Don't be one of those people. And always conduct yourself with integrity. It's not about how you behave when you're on full display. It's actually about how you behave when you know that no one is looking. A reputation can take a lifetime to build and a moment to ruin. IIT Bombay has given so much to you. The springboard that this badge of excellence provides you, the wealth of lifelong friendships that you will cherish forever, indeed the very person you have become, these are the gifts you've received from IITB. It is not too early to think about how you will repay these gifts. You can be a guest lecturer. You can be a visiting professor. It can come in the form of money. It can come in the form of time. Start now. It's your turn to enrich your alma mater. Stay connected, however that works for you. My hopes for you as you move forward are very simple. That you seize the opportunities for yourself to learn and grow. That you strive to achieve your fullest potential. That you touch people in ways that make a positive, lasting contribution to their lives. And that you are happy. My mother once gave me a pillow, and embroidered on that pillow are words to live by. It says, happiness is self-made. Happiness is self-made. Indeed it is. You are about to set sail on a great journey that is life. May you have favorable winds always, and may you always have a happy and fulfilling voyage. Thank you so much. Thank you. And now I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, sir, for gracing the session, sharing your experiences and addressing our graduating batch. We are truly grateful for your time and presence. So I don't think there are any such relevant questions as of now, and I would request Anil to continue with the session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time and presence. Today, we look back to look forward as we jog down our memory lanes and reminisce about all the rich and life-changing experiences we have had on campus. Remembering the bonds of friendship formed, we present to you the Look Back collection. Our BTech and MTech representatives will share their journey at IIT Bombay with us. I would like to invite our UG representative, Mr. Anmol Gupta, to share his experiences.
Okay. Thank you, Anil, for your kind introduction. Dear class of 2020, I'm quite sure that in previous years, giving the valedictorian speech would have been a completely different experience from this. By this, I mean talking to a screen, minus that gaze I could have spread across the entire auditorium, looking at all the familiar faces. In fact, Just to convince myself that I'm indeed giving the farewell speech to my batch, I stacked my laptop on 2 tables just so that I can stand while delivering my speech, like I would have otherwise. Little joys of life. Aren't they what keep us going in these times? Well, 2020 has been a roller coaster year for all of us, except that it's one in a free fall and we don't even know whether our seatbelts are tied or untied. So I think that in these times, the fact that we all sit in our rooms today at the brink of being graduated is itself an achievement for us. So pat yourselves on your backs, my friends, because beating all the odds and uncertainties that have penetrated our small worlds, we have still managed to do it. And let's also thank our friends, our families, our institute professors, and our institute staff who have supported us in innumerable ways throughout this journey. Now, I'm going to talk about our experiences in 3 main points. Let's call them the 3 Fs: our formation, our friendships, and our future. Starting with the first one, formation, and how we came so far. So to be honest, I've always had a problem with sweeping generalizations. There's often very little you could say about an entire batch of students, so diverse, so multifaceted, different histories, different personalities, different perceptions. It's almost inconceivable to use a single word to describe all their journeys together. But I think I have found one word, and that is growth. We have all grown tremendously from our first year versions to who we are today. Socially, mentally, emotionally, some of us even physically. And I think despite all the highs and lows that our journey had, this is one thing to be immensely proud of. We're not perfect, and no one is. The good thing is we don't have to be. We are growing, we are evolving, and that's all that matters. Coming to the second one, it's an ode to the deep friendships that we have forged in these years. One could have n number of accomplishments in their college life, but all of them tend to lose their sheen in the absence of meaningful friendships. When I was going through some hard times, it wasn't my grades or my awards or my respect that helped me. It was the people I reached out to. The friends on whose shoulders I could cry at 3 a.m. in the night. The friends who would console me on a bustling road in front of the LCH in my plight. It's these friendships that I cherish the most looking back on my journey. And I'm sure you do too. Finally, our future and where we go from here. So this year is not only about the pandemic. It's also one of great introspection, both for humans and institutions. Our world, as we know it, has changed. As a batch graduating amidst not just uncertainties, but also in a period characterized by rapid resetting of status quo and abolishing of unfair dogmas, we, the class of 2020, have a golden chance to relearn our role in the society and unlearn various biases that have plagued our previous generations. There are stories of suffering in this world, but there are also stories of survival and upliftment. And after this valley, there's only one way that the world could go: upwards. And we, the graduating batch of IIT Bombay, can really help usher this change. There is literally no better time to give back to the society than now. So let us resolve to do whatever we can in these times. I guess that's my time. Class of 2020, it's been my honor and an absolute delight to have spent these beautiful years of my life with you. And from the bottom of my heart, I wish you all the best for your life ahead. Thank you.
There are 2-3 questions for Daruwala sir. Aryansh, can you take up the questions from the students, please?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So there's a question from Santana Bachi. Sir, do you feel like your engineering background has helped you in your career as a banker?
Yeah, 100% it helped me. Engineering, certainly engineering from IIT Bombay, is an incredibly rigorous, disciplined education. And the way your mind is trained to think over time as an engineer, the rigor, the discipline, the hard work, all of those things are incredibly valuable. And of course, just comfort and facility with quantitative concepts and math, etc. Those are actually very, very important in business as well. So for me, the engineering background is something that I feel like it was a big springboard for me in the business world and all through time. But again, that is not to say that. I mean, I have a lot of my friends, the vast majority, who came over here and did a master's and a PhD, or did a job in engineering and were incredibly successful in engineering. So I'm not arguing for MBA versus engineering. I'm simply saying if you're thinking about an MBA, then the engineering background from IIT Bombay is tremendous.
And so there's another question. Is doing PhD worthwhile after MTech?
Again, I think it depends on what you want to do. I think if you want to pursue a career in academia and research, it is critical. On the other hand, if you want to do an MTech and then go join the private sector, I'll give you some examples. If you want to go and be a practitioner in the business world in machine learning or AI or something like that, you can do an MTech and then go do something like that. But if you want to do academia, if you want to do research, if you have a very keen interest in a very particular field, then a PhD is actually very important. I do have friends both in the US and in India, some who chose to stop after a master's and some who chose to stop after a PhD. And I think, it just depends a little bit on where you want to head and what you feel like doing over the next few years and where you see yourself ultimately.
Yes, sir. And so there's one last question. If someone wishes to start a startup, can he do it just after BTech, or is it better to have some post-graduation before?
You can definitely do it right after the BTech. You do not need any postgraduate. I mean, if you're not sure what you want to do from a startup standpoint, of course you can proceed and do your postgraduate studies. But there's nothing that says that you need to wait till finishing your postgraduate studies before you start your startup. I mean, as I'm sure all of you know, Bill Gates was a college dropout from Harvard, right? I think Mark Zuckerberg was a college dropout. There is no such thing that says you need an advanced degree to do a startup. If you're a gifted engineer who has a great idea and you have some passion around an idea that you want to go implement in the real world, you can pursue it without having your master's or your PhD.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, sir. And now I'll request Arnold to continue.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for addressing our questions. And thank you, Anmol, for joining us and sharing your experiences with us. Indeed, as we cross the threshold and enter into a whole new world with new adventures, we will always cherish our memories at IIT Bombay. I would now like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Rahul Singh. Mr. Singh completed his BTech in Mechanical Engineering in the year 2006. He is a co-founder and vice president engineering at IdeaForge Technology. At IdeaForge, he has been leading all hardware design, production training, and after-sales support. The UAVs of IdeaForge have been deployed in all major anti-terror operations, disaster management, and crowd management in the Indian subcontinent. Mr. Rahul Singh was recently awarded the Young Alumnus Achiever Award 2020 by IIT Bombay. We would like to inform you that he will answer your questions after his speech, so you can ask your questions in the Q&A icon on the right side of your screen.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm visible and audible. It's a great honor and pleasure to be part of this function. It actually is a representation of an exceptional time, but like everything exceptional, we have the means to adapt and adjust to whatever the world or the situation throws at us. So even though the constraint of not having a physical function, the constraint it imposes upon us, but I think being able to connect to all the students right now through this platform is I hope an adequate replacement of that particular function. So thank you for letting me be part of this. So I'll use this opportunity to share some ideas with you, which I hope will be helpful in your journey ahead. These are ideas that I have just observed and summarized in my journey till now. I graduated in 2006 as a BTech mechanical engineer from IIT Bombay. During this time, these months in 2006 or slightly earlier, I had to make decisions, choices for my life as a student coming into the real world and becoming a professional. And the options were to go for higher studies in the US, where I had an admit, or accepting a well-paid job at a top banking firm where I got recruited on campus, or to apply for an oil and gas job, which I really loved because that represented an adventurous job in the jungles and the oceans or exotic icy landscapes. Or I had the option of joining hands with my friends and co-explorers of this exciting and adventurous journey we had of robotics explorations as that we had done as students together, and to be able to take that initiative further as a profession and learn everything from scratch as to what it means to create a product for someone. I fortunately took the last option, even though it was the toughest of the options with the least perks to start with. But it has been a fulfilling journey of learning. So it's been a fulfilling journey of learning from and creating for the real world problems. It has honed our skills as some of the best problem solvers in our domain. I chose the option because this was the option which had the most holistic balance of my aspiration of creating real world impacting products and in the process achieving my monetary success subsequently. But whatever might be the option that you choose, also be ready for challenges and failures along that path. Failures are not necessarily a sign of wrong decision. A failure is a part of the calibration towards the final path to success. And hence, perseverance is essential in achieving success in any chosen path. So this is something that that's not necessarily by default the most pleasant part of the journey, but perseverance and calibrating on the path that you choose is really the best strategy going ahead. So let me also talk about what I do professionally. Our company works with our country's security forces and creates solutions that can help them in the toughest situations at high altitudes, extreme temperatures, and harsh environmental conditions, in addition to hostile situations of terrorist attacks, border infiltration, and other law and order management scenarios. We also work with the National Surveyor, the Survey of India, to map the whole country using drones to generate data for many applications. The journey has taken me to the highest and harshest locations of the country, to naval warships, and to all the corners, exciting, varied corners of the country. And now we are also trying to attempt exporting the creations, the products that we have to other countries, rather than just continue importing products from other countries. So that's sort of a milestone of achievement for us. But while going through this journey, I thought about the varied reasons why we take the path of becoming an engineer. Like at the end of our IIT experience, we are at this place where we are engineers, but a lot of times we don't really think about what it might actually mean to be an engineer. And as a part of a conversation with our team, I had this thought and exploration that I wanted to do. And in the pursuit of just making sense of what it means to be an engineer, I tried exploring the dictionary meaning of engineering. What is engineering? And I came across the following answers. Engineering is a scientific field and job that involves taking our scientific understanding of the natural world and using it to invent, design, and build things to solve problems and achieve practical goals. So I'll highlight the word solve problems and achieve practical goals here. The other answer claims it to be the application of science and mathematics by which the properties of matter and the sources of energy in nature are made useful to people. So what the part which is underlined here is being useful to people. And the third definition is the art or science of making practical application of the knowledge of pure sciences. Here the underlined part is practical application of the knowledge. So the conclusion for me was that as an engineer, we are great problem solvers for the real world. And this internal acknowledgement of our role as problem solvers for the real world is the first message I wanted to convey. And we shouldn't forget about this and get caught in something mundane and not really adding or creating much value. And because all of us have the capability and the training to do so. So all the products and solutions around us, your phones, your laptops, your cars, everything else, are the work of great engineers. Being exceptional at understanding the problem as well as the user of the solution that we will be creating creates a significant impact. So being a great engineer, a great problem solver is really to understand the problem as well as the user of that solution that you're making. A great engineer can also be a great scientist, a great manager, a great leader, or great at any other role, where the core of that role is problem solving. So you need not necessarily end up being an engineer or an engineering role, but anywhere you go, the core of being an engineer is being a great problem solver. So if we stick to that essence of what it means to be a great problem solver, we'll be great at a varied kind of roles in the real world. The next idea I would like to mention is the power of contextualization. At times, as engineers, we become so technology and solution focused that we lose the context of the problem itself. And this, I think, is a very, very important and powerful perspective for me. So, for example, a car is successful or great not only because it might have the most powerful engine or the fastest speed. The success of a car is contextual to the target user. Some user have a higher need for safety rather than performance. Hence, a moderate performance car with highest safety rating might be a more successful product than the highest performance car with mediocre safety ratings. So, for example, Nano as a car was a great technical and manufacturing achievement in trying to make an affordable four-wheeler accessible to a bigger section of the population. But in the process, the team behind Nano neglected the context of the perception created by branding Nano as the poor man's car. It became a failure. It became a failure as no one wanted to buy that car and be branded as a poor man, rather than the expectation and the social acknowledgement they wanted to have by upgrading from a two-wheeler to a four-wheeler. So contextualization becomes important from that perspective. And for helping that, a broad-based awareness of the world that we are solving a problem for helps in the power of contextualization. And hence I'll like to reinforce it as one of the most important and valuable traits an engineer can add to complement his engineering and problem solving skills. The next idea I would like to add to this power of problem solving and the power of contextualization is the power of rapid prototyping. The meaning of rapid prototyping over the years has been reduced to this perception of 3D printing or some rough physical prototype creation. But even I was amazed at the expanded view of rapid prototyping in all aspects of decision making, not just products, not just hardware, but just decisions about who should do what and why should you do something, your career decision, your life decision. So rapid prototyping as an ideology really is very, very helpful in effective and efficient decision making. And I'll not try to spend too much time elaborating upon that, but I'll like to give a reference of Mr. Tom Chi. He was one of the co-founders and core members of Google X team, who has talked about this whole idea of rapid prototyping and its power for products and decision making and problem solving. So I'd strongly recommend for you to check it out. So rapid prototyping of any idea added with the right contextualization enhances the relevance of the solution many folds. Now, these last three ideas, the power of problem solving, the power of contextualization added with the power of rapid prototyping, these three ideas feed into the journey of any technology to become a successful product. And as an engineer right out of college, I really did not appreciate the difference between a technology and a product. And it has taken us years and years of really making mistakes and learning from them to realize the difference between a technology demonstrator, a prototype, and a really stable, good, credible product. So this journey from technology to becoming a successful product is something I saw as an important journey of realization. And if I could have sort of understood it earlier, I could have probably done a better job at creating solutions, not just hardware products. And this is just not for engineering. This is just for decision making in life. Problem solving, contextualization, and rapid prototyping is not product or hardware specific. It is life decision specific. So this whole journey to becoming a successful product, entity, culture, society, country, that's very important because we have been a country known for high technology talent, but we have not been known for successful global products. We still continue to import huge amount of high technology products from all other societies in the world. And this has been fueled by just importing the products and not investing in that work locally. And it could be the responsibility of the government, large corporates, but it could also be initiatives taken by individuals or small groups to just take the lead and create those solutions, because India is definitely a country not short of problems around. So you won't find it difficult to find problems. It's up to you if you want to create a solution for them. So we need to accelerate this path of becoming globally recognized product creators, and that will happen because of the initiative of a lot of new generation companies coming up and doing exceptional work within the country and globally as well. So using this above, what I feel is we need to change the narrative of our country and society. We have for a very long time have had this sense of inferiority complex within our country and society to other countries and societies. And even now, an international product always gets a psychological preference over an Indian product, because not just us, no one thinks that an product necessarily will be superior to an international product. But Japan, I wanted to give an example of Japan and Sony, how they chose to change their narrative. In the 1950s, Japanese products were known to be cheap, low quality products. Probably they represented what we associated with cheap Chinese products probably some time back. But Chinese have also evolved in their perception and their outlook, not only be represented by cheap, low quality products. But this was the story of Japan in the 1950s. And Sony leadership decided to choose quality and great technology backed products to change the narrative for their company and their country. And they became known for being the source of the highest quality electronics in the world. So it is possible to change the narrative if there is confidence, clarity, and concerted effort behind doing so. And we, the people who have been who are the most brilliant minds of the country with great training at an institute like IIT Bombay, we are the most equipped lot to change the narrative in our journey going ahead. I'm trying to do my bit, but I think it will take far more than what few individuals can do. It is a whole generation which needs to push this change in narrative. So this is a summary of my take on the journey from being an engineer out of campus to becoming globally relevant or impactful in terms of solution creating. So apart from this, in this journey, also need to have clarity of our individual measure of success. And this is something which I realized looking at some of my colleagues and classmates from IIT Bombay time. At IIT Bombay, at IITs, all of our measure of success is through the mechanism of relative grading amongst all of our peers. Our AAs and ABs and BBs and BCs are all relative grading. And that's fine because the IIT academic environment tries to balance the type of courses and the type of learning and the net result of that relative grading is the measure of success there. But we tend to carry this relative measure of success out in the real world, but we only keep a single metric while we come out in the real world as the salary as the only relative metric for success. And I've seen a lot of my colleagues being disappointed if they went into the best technical firms, but just because they couldn't get salaries which some other domain was offering, they were internally, individually not satisfied as having achieved enough, which I thought was slightly not fair on themselves. So I think we need to really this is a very incomplete measure of success, just measuring ourselves by the salary packages that we are able to get in the roles that we get out there, because the salary packages of different domains vary a lot. So we need to choose our measure of success based on pursuit of excellence in a combination of metrics. So I have three areas of metrics that I think are really relevant. Could be a combination of monetary, scientific, and social/human value creation metrics. So you could choose to be going academic and scientific into an academic or scientific domain and then lead to monetary success. You could choose to go into a social or human value creation domain, creating products, solutions, impacting the society at large, and through that creating a monetary success. Or if you have a huge amount of clarity about the monetary success being the primary one, then going ahead with that clarity as well. But that need not be the only option for the measure of success. So I would suggest a combination of clarity around monetary, scientific, and social or human value creation. The pursuit of scientific and social human value creation almost always will lead to some monetary value creation. But the reverse might not necessarily be true. So we can always take informed decisions around that. So what I feel is having clarity in this holistic measure of success will keep the real world journey very fulfilling for everyone. So this is all what I wanted to convey to all of you. Wish you all the best in your life ahead. And the whole COVID situation that is happening right now, I feel is a temporary hiccup in our journey to achieve individual and collective success in our endeavors. So that's it. Thank you very much. And if there are any questions, I'll address them as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your motivational words. I've got a few questions. So do
Sure.
you think that IIT Bombay PORs deserve the value that they receive during placements and internships?
So your question is, do they deserve the salaries that they get during placements and internships?
No, like the POR, do they deserve the value, that the high value which we all give them during placements and internships?
Rahul, POR is the position of responsibility which the students have.
Okay. Position of responsibility within the IIT campus. Sorry, I just need a small explanation of the question.
Yes, like the GSHA or the GSEX, the various position of responsibilities.
Yes. So what I feel is, as an IITian, and when an IITian is onboarded onto a team, the expectation from an IITian in terms of creating value and having a very steep learning curve in real life is also, the expectation is much higher. So individuals which have shown the ability to handle complex situations in terms of not just technical capabilities, but managing events, managing teams, managing different activities, and being able to manage it very well, probably also shows the ability to manage and problem solve very well. So it is valuable, but let's not see it as the core value driver. The core value driver is your core problem solving capability. All of these positions represent your ability to really catch up to the real world requirements very fast, to work with teams and to get things done, and hence they are also seen as valuable.
Yes.
I hope I answered the question.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Sure.
And sir, how should geopolitics of today's world affect our choices to choose between higher degree or a job opportunity?
So the thing is, you can't try to predict the geopolitics of the world right now, because it's the kind of thing that no one really knows clearly about as to what is going to happen. So while there can always be an uncertainty in terms of the entry status of students or professionals in foreign countries, and that uncertainty always is on the lower side for your home country. So, but I think the world is too interconnected to just drop the ball overnight and sort of forget about how things are happening. So, if there is a good opportunity, if that is what really makes sense to you, go ahead with that. But I would also say that options in India and learning while creating solutions on the job are also not bad options. So if you have an option of being able to go on a individual endeavor, creating some solutions, it's good. It's just that we have to be ready for failure in whatever choices that we make, and just calibrate and recover from that.
Yes, sir. And so, last question. In these uncertain times of COVID, can you share some tips? How can we keep our morale high?
So beyond the point, if it depends on what you really interested in, and as Mr. Tudarwala mentioned earlier, really see as to what do you feel is your calling in terms of what you want to do, what you want to relate to, because in the trying times, it is being able to relate to the stuff you want to do or the stuff you want to pursue, which is really a great support when things become uncertain. So, especially for me, I really like the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm really plugged into it. And the level of being plugged into it helps me completely of the challenges of the world right now. So the challenges also present challenges for the organization, but because we love stuff that we want to do and we are doing right now, the ability to handle uncertainty is fine, because we know that in the worst case scenario, no one can take away what we know, what are, what we can do. So have that confidence in who you are and what you can do, and no level of uncertainty can take that away from you. And if you have that confidence, you'll always have the steadiness and clarity to really not be too bothered in the most uncertain times as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And now I'd request Anil to continue with Q&A.
Thank you, sir, for answering our questions. Thank you for gracing the occasion with your presence. We are holding an online IVF event in the midst of a pandemic, and we are truly grateful for your time and presence. To commemorate the contributions of our students in SARC, I would like to invite Professor Chaudhary to announce the names of students for Outstanding Contributions Awards.
That's wonderful. It's a wonderful listening to Tush and Rahul. And now it's my pleasant duty to give you the names of some of our distinguished volunteers and students who have done very well, okay, in terms of the awards that have to be out for their outstanding contributions. So the first one, the core team member in design, is Soumya Pramanik. There you are. Okay, here is Soumya Pramanik. The first of them that I mentioned here. Next, so he has been a core team member design in SARC in 2017 and 18. Next, I go for Chaitanya Mahale. So he has been the core team member design in SARC 2018 and 19. So congratulations, Chaitanya, also. So now you have Siddharth Mehta. So he has been also the core team member for PR in SARC 2018 and 19. So thank you, Siddharth, for your contributions for SARC. Now we have Usama Khidir. So he has been the core team member in PR group for SARC 2018 and 19 team. So thank you, Osama, for doing it for the SARC team. We really value your contributions. Next, we have Naman Jain. He has been the core team member in HDA for the SARC team 2018 and 19. So thank you, Naman. Wish you all the best, because now you're going to graduate, and I'm sure wherever you are, you will do wonderfully well. Now we have Harshit Handa. He has been the overall coordinator for the SARC team in 2019 and 20. So thank you, Harshit. Your leadership has been excellent. And this is where I think the training that you get by doing it, I think it'll help you in the rest of your journey. So thank you all the winners. I think there's no more, right? So this is the last one. So I think on behalf of IIT Bombay, I thank all these special awardees that we just did and wish them all great life beyond IIT Bombay. Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Chaudhary, and congratulations to all the recipients. Thank you for your contribution towards IIT Bombay and SARC. To share more of their personal experiences, I invite our PG representative, Ms. Sakshi Pandey.
Good evening to all the professors, students, and distinguished alumni present here to attend the valedictory function of Class 2020. I am Sakshi Pandey, a final postgraduate student from Center for Technology Alternatives for Rural Areas, that is Sidara. First of all, I want to thank SARC and PGAC for giving me the opportunity to represent the whole PG fraternity today at this valedictory ceremony. Shakespeare once said, "Brevity is the soul of wit." Following the same line, I will try to keep my speech short and make the best possible sense out of it. Unlike undergrads, by the time we PGs come here, we already have carved out an identity of our own. Someone is a mechanical engineer, someone electrical, and someone somewhere has already done a hell lot of coding as a computer engineer. However, IT takes us all and mixes us just like different colored balls in a big huge urn. For many of us, getting here was a dream come true. I still remember the first day here when most of us, drenched and troubled by Mumbai rains, came to attend the orientation session with proud faces and all jubilant smiles, and of course umbrellas. Most part of our first semester were consumed with figuring out our ways to reach lecture hall complex and then coming back to hostels. So Moodle and ASC were the other spinches for many of us, killing a lot of our precious time, although we had PGAC, ISCP and other orientations for them. However, that time, none of us would have ever thought that this dream of getting graduated from ITB, wearing all white traditional attires and blue ataria, while holding degrees and clicking pictures with their proud family and friends, will become an alternate reality. Thanks to COVID-19 and the lockdowns, we left INSTE in such a hurry and apprehension while not realizing that We will not get time for bidding adieu to our dearest campus, canteens, and hostels where we cried, fought, lived, loved, and laughed. It will not be an exaggeration to say that these 2 or maybe 3 years in IIT made us more tenacious and dynamic through indefinite lectures, submissions, incessant report writings, seminar and MTP presentations, and of course RTA duties. However, most of us were struggling hard to align all these to reach the common destination of institute placements. These years gave us new friends, thousands of memories, and introduced us to salsa and prom nights. The prom never happened for us. Also, it taught us to handle the enormous academic load and placement anxiety, yet mark our presence in volleyball and badminton courts, football grounds, gym, PCSA, and of course, our beloved lakeside walks and evenings at the boathouse. These 2 years are very hard to be compiled in a few minutes. However, I can very affirmatively say that each one of us came with a few dreams in our eyes, be it placements, PhD, entrepreneurship, whatever you may name, but IIT Bombay gave us much more than that. Today, I will not say that our upcoming lives are going to be a bed of roses. However, surely this place had made us all learn to live life to its fullest and made us confident enough to face any hardship with a vibrant smile. Now, while graduating, the responsibility is on our shoulders to carry forward the legacy of excellence, perseverance, and hard work for which IITians are known all around the world. Concluding my speech, I would like to recite a line which one of my professors told once when I came to IIT Bombay. खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना, खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से पूछे कि बता तेरी रजा क्या है. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi, for sharing your journey with us. I would now like to invite Mr. Devesh Khatu, CEO of IIT Bombay Alumni Association, to say a few words.
Hi, everybody. This is Devesh Khatu. I'm the CEO of the Alumni Association. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak along with Professor Chaudhary, Professor Kundu, Professor Joshi, Mr. Daruwala, and Rahul Singh. So I'm just going to briefly talk a little bit about the IIT Bombay Alumni Association, since even though many of you have heard of us, many of you are not exactly aware of what we are and what we do. So I have a very brief presentation, which I'll very quickly go through. So can we have the next slide please? So we are a Section 8 nonprofit established in 2001 to represent the interests of IIT Bombay alumni. So our mission is basically to foster strong bonds between alumni, students, and the institute, to keep alumni informed and create a network enabling them to remain engaged with IIT Bombay and help shape its future through our programs and services. That sort of in a nutshell is our mission, is basically to keep you connected with both the institute and with each other. The next slide, please. Next. So one of the main things that you can do is to become a life member of IIT Bombay Alumni Association. So for most of you, this is actually automatic. The life membership fees are deducted from your caution money if you agree to it. And actually, you're getting a big discount to the normal price. So if you join now, by deducting it from the caution money, you become a life member for 1,500 as opposed to the normal 3,000 rupees for life membership. Now, what does life membership give you? The main thing is it's basically belonging to your alumni association. You're staying connected with your alma mater and your alumni. Some of the other benefits that you get are easy access to campus with a life membership card or a card at the gate, and you'll be let inside to the campus anytime. You can use the gymkhana facilities such as the gym and other sports facilities. You get a discount on guest house bookings, and that's actually a pretty big benefit if you're visiting Mumbai from outside Mumbai. So that's 50% right now, and that itself actually is worth, it pays for itself several times over. The other benefit is a lifelong iitbombay.org email address, which you can use to forward your mail to your regular email address. You can also search for the alumni database online and find alumni worldwide and just connect with them. And you have the ability to run for positions and vote for the annual IIT Bombay Board of Directors and chapter election. Next slide, please. We have a few initiatives that we implement throughout the year. One of the main ones is the financial aid program. And many of you actually perhaps might have been beneficiaries of this. This is a program that supplements scholarships that are offered by the government and the institute. And we also, and this is sort of need-based, based on income. The other program that you might have heard of is the Hostel Alumni Team Stewardship, or the HATS program. And this program basically pays for amenities in the hostels, such as, say, washing machines or libraries and things like that, and also pays for benefits for mess workers. There's a whole bunch of programs that we have, which are, I'm not going to go through all of them. They're actually on our website at iitbombay.org. I've just mentioned them briefly here. This is a retired faculty wellness fund, a rural initiatives group where people work in the villages to bring some social benefit to villages, and your young faculty awards. But one of the most important things that we do is reunions. So typically these are batch reunions for the batches that are celebrating important milestones. So 10 years, 25 years, 40 years, and 50 years are some of the major ones. But we can do it every 5 years if there's an interest in the batch. The other main thing that we do is we sort of operate in a chapter structure, and each chapter around the world has its own events, which can be either social, educational, and professional. Next slide, please. I encourage all of you to join the chapters in the regions that you go to. So we have 13 chapters in India in pretty much all of the major metropolitan areas. I've just listed them briefly here. We have 9 chapters in North America and 7 chapters in the rest of the world. So the North American chapters are actually part of our sister organization there called the IIT Bombay Heritage Foundation. So if any of you are going to the US for higher studies, I encourage you to contact the Heritage Foundation. Next slide, please. Next slide, yeah. We have a few different ways of communicating with the alumni. Our website, iitbombay.org, is one of them. We have a monthly email newsletter that goes out typically in the 3rd week of the month. There's an alumni magazine called Fundamatics. And then, of course, we have presence in most of the major social media. So on Facebook, we have a page and an alumni group, which has about 11,000 alumni in it. Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, again, we have a page and a group, and WhatsApp and Telegram groups. These are based on both batches, hostels, departments, so there are a whole bunch of them based on your affiliations. So I encourage you to join all of these, like our Facebook page, Instagram page, and so on, and become a part of these groups so that you can stay in touch with alumni. Last slide. And that's our contact information. The main thing is to stay in touch with both other alumni and your alma mater. I can vouch for one thing. I myself am an alumnus, having graduated from IIT Bombay in 1990, and I was actually out of touch with IIT Bombay for the longest time. Actually, in fact, until our Silver Jubilee reunion in 25 years after I graduated. And I would encourage you to not do this, because besides the education that you learned at IIT, I think one of your greatest assets at IIT is your friends and fellow alumni, as well as the professors, and encourage you to stay connected with all of them. Once again, I would like to just congratulate all of you for your achievements in graduating, and wishing you all the best in your journey in life as you go around in your respective areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Professor Joshi to deliver the vote of thanks as a closing mark of the evening.
First of all, thank you very much for all the participants for joining this program in this pandemic situation. Batch of 2020 has been remarkable in many ways. One thing is that their semester went just like a 2020 cricket match, that especially the last semester got over within a short time. Nevertheless, but it was highly educative in a number of ways. We learned how to take online lectures. Many of the professors have never done that. We also learned how to teach the classes without, having eye-to-eye contact, which is some of the very important things in classrooms. But I think it was interesting, quite a different setting altogether. Batch of 2020 has made a nice gesture, I must mention about it, that they would actually do a contribution of 200 rupees per student for running a project for the benefit of the junior students. And I think this is the first time some batch has started this initiative. I think it's a small tree, a small plant which has been sowed, and I'm sure it will create a precedence, and all batches will follow it. As a special gesture, the director has mentioned that this particular program, had it been conducted in person, we would have incurred a lot of expenses. We will actually flow those expenses into the kitty of this project, so that the students can do some meaningful help to the fellow junior students. So we are thankful to you, batch of 2020, for this nice gesture. My most heartfelt thanks to our keynote speaker, Tus Daruwala, who could join us from New York today. So this I will see as a positive side of the pandemic, that in the event of regular program, we would not have called him because he's in USA, but now it is possible to get connected easily. Our thanks to Rahul Singh, our young alumnus, Rahul Singh, for sharing his thoughts. We wish him all the success in the drones development, because in this time, there are many new applications of drones are actually emerging. We are also thankful to one another alumnus, Dhananjay Sahiba, 1977 graduate, IIT Bombay, electrical engineering, for providing this platform of Blue Jeans for conducting the whole program. We thank the organization, and we also thank Dhananjay for his kind gesture. SARC students team is nothing but they are the hands and legs of my department, and they are the ones who spread the message, conduct the program, do all the legwork, and our thanks go to them for their help in organizing the program. We are thankful to Alumni Association of IIT Bombay and their team for help in organizing the program. Last but not the least, my team of Deepti, Gayatri. We have a Dhananjay who is also the IT expert, and DRF and ACR officers and their teams for organizing this particular program. So on behalf of the Institute, you will be in touch with my department in the Institute for all your activities. You need anything from the Institute, please do get in touch with me or any of my the officers in our department, my section. And lastly, I wish you all the best for your future. And thank you very much for attending the program.
Thank you, sir. Anil, would you like to conclude?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you everyone, our dignitaries, students, and everyone for attending this program.